One of the things you definitely have to keep in mind in terms of how to keep up stamina and running is to build stamina. It takes several weeks, more cases, several months to build stamina where you're not slowing down in racing. How you build that stamina? Consistent workouts on a consistent basis. And in most cases, athletes can really run great times, can get in superior fitness in a matter of 3 to 4 days of running each week. Okay, most world-class, national-class athletes are running usually between 6 and 7 days a week. So again, it's all about your schedule. It's about prioritizing your time, focusing on quality versus quantity in your training, not getting too focused so much on just aerobic mileage. Sprinkle in some faster workouts. Stress the energy systems of the body. Okay, you have to do this on a consistent basis in order to run for longer periods of time, to be able to sustain your goal race pace more efficiently, and to get in that flow state. Getting into a flow state where you're literally just hitting splits that feel so easy and they're so much faster than you were expecting to run. Okay, in my own background, I've had a lot of failures in the sport. You're free to go to the About page on RunDreamAchieve.com and see all of my races from when I first started, and then up to around 2018. Okay, I had a lot of ups and downs throughout the years, and the thing is, it's that consistency, it's that hunger, that's what is your why? What is driving you to get out the door and continue to compete and really get to the next level when you're racing? It really comes down to you at the end of the day. Are you training? Or are you really putting in the work? Are you putting in the work to be average? Are you putting in the type of training that you need to be good? Or are you truly putting in the type of effort, both mentally as well as physically, to be great in the sport? Okay. Disappointments are part of the process. So in terms of building your stamina, expect some trials throughout your build-up. There's going to be times when you're questioning yourself, when you're wondering, am I past my prime? Am I training? Am I really able to do what I want to do? There comes a point where every athlete starts to ask those questions. But in terms of building that stamina, building that your capability to sustain race pace for a longer period of time and slow down less than your competition, that takes time. And in most cases, like I mentioned, it's always a better plan of action to do a longer buildup in your training rather than a shorter buildup. Okay, if you're training for a 5K, you may need, a 5K 16 weeks is solid. Okay, if you're doing anything from like 10 miles, 15 kilometers, 10 miles, half marathon, marathon distance, or ultra marathon, 5 to 6 months is the way to go. So in terms of how to keep up stamina while running, it's also about energy expenditure. It's about not getting too hyped up in the race and going out way too anaerobic and redlining and drastically slowing down in the second half of your race. So make sure that you're focusing more on a negative split when you race these races. If you're just in training and you're wanting to keep up stamina longer while you're running, make sure you're looking at how you're setting up your training. Is too much of your volume too easy? If that's the case, you have to start spending a higher percentage of that weekly volume at a higher intensity. The world's top runners, 40% of their weekly volume at anaerobic threshold or faster than anaerobic threshold. So there's a reason why they've built up that stamina and they slow down less than their competition. Okay, so focus on quality over quantity. Don't focus so much on, like, I'm running 100 miles a week. Of course, you're going to be extremely strong if you've consistently done 100 plus miles a week for, say, 8 to 12 weeks of a buildup. That takes a massive amount of time, and an athlete's going to be extremely strong if they've done that. But that being said, if the athlete that's running, say, 50 miles a week, doing 50% of the work, if that athlete's doing, say, like 30 to 40% of their weekly volume at anaerobic threshold or faster, and the athlete that's doing 100 miles a week is doing maybe 5 to 10%, it's going to be, I think the athlete that's doing less volume is going to be more dangerous than the athlete that's doing more volume. Okay, it's not a guarantee. Okay, you can still do everything right sometimes, and it still doesn't go right in the race. So there's always time. But the thing to keep in mind is also remember every workout that you do, every hard race that you do, whether it's a great race, whether it's a great workout or a poor race. Every workout and every race builds upon itself. You're still going to get a benefit, even if you ran a race and you just didn't hit the time you were aiming for. You're still in great health. At the end of the day, that's what matters most. You have people around you that care about you, whether you race fast or you race slow. They're not really caught up in that. Okay, they're going to be there to support you either way. But just know, don't get so bent out of shape if it doesn't go the way you want immediately. Okay, this is a sport where in most cases, great times happen over several years. When I look at my nephew now, he's a junior in college. He recently, just yesterday, ran 157 for 800 meters. He ran 15:14 for 5,000 meters indoors. He's working to run under 5,000 meters, or he's working to break 15 minutes for 5,000 meters outdoors this year. I look at him and he's running these types of times because he's worked over several years. I've been watching him run since he was a freshman in high school. Slowly, every single year, getting faster and faster, and getting older. As he gets older, he's running faster. So you have to be patient with your build-up. You have to be patient with holding your stamina, improving your stamina, and being able to run and improve that stamina, and being able to hold your goal race pace for a longer period of time. Trust the process. It's going to happen as you get older, as you spend more time in the sport, as you stay consistent with your training over several years. You're only going to get better. But you also have to make sure that you focus and study what the world's top coaches do. Focus on what the world's top distance runners and middle distance runners do as well. Okay, they're always working on excellence. It's not they're not looking at just to be average. And in some cases, every athlete's different. Okay, there are athletes out there that just want to learn how to run a marathon for the first time and just want to start and finish the race. They're not just on specific training principles or running at VO2 max effort or may not even know what that is. But in most cases, the longer you get in the sport, asking these types of questions of how do I improve my stamina while running? How do I run faster over longer periods of time and for longer durations? How do I do that? It goes beyond just starting and finishing a race. Okay, so also to improve your stamina, you also want to make sure that you're running slow. Okay, building that endurance. Running slow for 2 to 3 hours if you're training for a marathon or a 10K half marathon distance. Running for 2 to 3 hours, you're going to be building your stamina that way as well. It's not just about the speed workouts and doing VO2 max workouts and running, repeat 800s on the track or repeat 2 miles or doing repeat 5K reps on the roads if you're training for a road race, a longer road race, half marathon, 10-mile marathon. So it's building stamina. It's more than anything, it's physiological adaptation that does occur over several months. Okay, it's not going to happen in a matter of days. In most cases, it's not going to happen in a matter of a few weeks. Okay, it usually takes between 3 weeks to a month to adapt to stress that you're placing on the body. So if right now you're having a hard time, you're out there and you're running 350 per K on the roads, and you're really you're sucking wind. You're really having a hard time out there trying to hold 350K pace. Or maybe you're out there and you're trying to break a 3-hour marathon and you're running 7:25 mile pace and you're really having a hard time with that. Stay consistent. Continue to run at that pace for 3 weeks to a month, and I promise you, it's not going to feel as hard in a month's time. Then you can start working on running at faster paces. That 350K pace, that's not going to feel as tough to you anymore. Okay, it might be 330 or 335K pace now. It's going to feel as equivalent to running at that 350 pace when you weren't quite as fit. Okay, and if you're starting off running a 725 pace, like I mentioned with a sub 3-hour marathoner trying to break 3 hours to the marathon, it might be 705 mile pace. Will now feel just as equally as hard as running at 725 mile pace. So I hope that makes sense. Just be confident with yourself and know that this is a long-term sport. Make some short-term goals, make some long-term goals, but in terms of improving stamina, continue to work on your speed, hill repetitions every other week, Focus on running on hillier terrain where you're not just running on the flats every single day. Running on and making sure that those hill training workouts, that's going to help you, especially when it comes time to, if you're running on the track, preparing for, say, a 1,500 or a 5,000 on the track or a 10,000, or if you're training for a flat, maybe a Chicago marathon or a Rotterdam marathon, Berlin, and you're training for a flat race, you do want to train on some hillier terrain. That's going to make that goal race pace that you're aiming for to feel that much easier, and for you to be able to sustain your stamina for a longer period of time. So I hope this video is helpful for you in terms of how to improve your stamina while running. If you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to leave me a comment below. Check out the resource below these videos. And also I want to make sure take the time to thank all of my subscribers, both new subscribers as well as the subscribers that have been with me from the very beginning. Thank you so much for your support and for liking these videos and sharing these videos. I can't do it without you as well. So thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, and I wish you all the best in your training and racing. I look forward to hearing about your new personal bests.